Hey neighbors, how are you? Really glad to be speaking with you today. You got me, June, you got Joe, Yukai, and Kevin from all around the world. Joe outside of Portland, Yukai in Taiwan. Kevin, are you in Taiwan right now too?
No, I still in China.
You're in China. Okay, so we are spread all over the world. I'm in San Francisco. So really excited to be speaking with you today. We're going to be talking about a few things. So first and foremost, I want to give a June update and all the product engineering, design, community, and marketing initiatives that we're working on. Also want to talk about New York that's happening in under a week now. Just a few more days. We're going to be in New York for New York NFT. You guys are going to be speaking there. And then lastly, we want to talk about the crypto winter, how we're thinking about it, how we're positioning ourselves and making sure that we're working towards long lasting value. And with that said, I'm going to hand it off to you, Kai, to say some inspiring words.
I don't know if there's any real inspiring words, but first of all, just appreciate all the neighbors who are with us, sticking with us. Time has been hard for, all the realms of investment, right? They say there's no safe place right now, but I think first of all, we're not worried. I think our goal is to become the stable point, a safe haven for times of turmoil, because what we keep pitching is we're focused on things that have timeless value, right? If you look at 10 years from now, we don't know if 10 years from now, people will be playing the same NFT games. 10 years from we don't know if people are going to be liking the same NFT animals, but we know 10 years from now, it's for sure that people care about the meaningful memories that occurred in their lives and also the places that these places occurred. So we're taking these timeless concepts, places, real estate, and memories, and combining with blockchain technology, which is timeless, but again, blockchain technology a lot of time right now is used for, very short term, kind of like meme or Ganem style, like fun, kind of little fun things. So I think this is what we're focusing on, right? Long-term value. And it's something we keep talking about. It's something where we want to preserve for our children and grandchildren. So we're not faints. We're just kind of building as we go. And we really appreciate those who see what we're trying to accomplish, see our execution, and just sticking with us. So yeah, and of course, if you're new to Metablox, join the Discord, see how everyone in the Discord, they have high morale. They're just very supportive, and it's an amazing community to be in, especially through this time of difficulty, right? There are people who care about you, who encourage you, support you. So again, thanks everyone. And we're just working forward to build this vision.
Nice. Good. So let's talk about some product updates. So first and foremost, what you're going to see in the coming weeks is improvements on the memories in a few ways. So recently we launched memories available to everyone. So now you can add a memory for 10 MetaRent. And what you can do is when you create an account, you're going to get instantly 20 MetaRent. So you can at least add 2 memories. So that's one improvement we made. Second, we're currently working on memory marks. So memory marks are a way for you to tag a memory, mark a memory with hilarious, heartwarming, inspiring, or solemn. Hey, I hit all 4 this time.
Hilarious actually got turned into enjoyable back in the day.
Look at that.
You're the one that pushed for it too. You didn't like hilarious.
I did. But and so those 4 memory marks are coming up. The UX is completed now. The engineering part of it is being developed right now. Kevin is also currently working, or either currently working or is about to start working on the transfer button. So if you did mint a blocks using Stripe or Fiat, then it is currently held in our Metablox custodial wallet, and you'll be able to push a button and transfer it over to your MetaMask wallet. So that will be in. Right after that, we're going to be working on memories everywhere. So the UX for memories everywhere is being worked on right now. So what is that? That means that currently you can only add a memory in the cities that we've launched. So that means San Francisco, Miami, Singapore, and New York. But once we launch memories anywhere, you'll be able to add a memory anywhere in the world. And that means that when you do add that memory, if you're the first person in that location to add a memory, and in the future, when a blocks is drawn, you'll be able to be the first person to mint that blocks. You have that first access to mint the blocks.
I'll give a bit of context about why that's in place, because we have a lot of people in the community who's like, I love the vision. I love preserving my memories I just don't have memories in San Francisco or Miami. Right. And so they want to be part of it. But they just can't participate because we're doing a slow rollout in terms of making sure we get things right with the cities so far. But now we get an opportunity for everyone to just say, hey, I'm in Taipei, like I'm personally in Taipei, or, I live in the Bay Area, but my family's in Fremont, right? So we have a lot of memories in Fremont, but not San Francisco. So it allows all of us to start participating in this memory experience, which I think is the core of Metablox. And that's why we decided to even prioritize this functionality.
Absolutely. And for this next one, Joe, I'd like you to talk about it, but it's also prioritization. UX is currently working on improving the mobile experience for memories. Joe, maybe you can talk a little bit about why you feel that is so important. And you actually you push really hard for it. And now I'm 100% convinced that it is incredibly important. So maybe you can talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think there's two main reasons. One is that most of the world is accessing the internet via mobile, 60 something, 70 something percent. But two, a lot of our audience's first introduction to Metablox is through a talk that Yukai's doing. So if he's presenting something on screen, showing the QR code, and we're encouraging folks to come visit us, the first place they're going to do that is on a phone. So we want to make sure that experience is delightful as possible. And that's the main two reasons. And then,
and I would add a third reason. So I was really strongly pushing for a Google Photos integration because I'm like in this zone of that entire experience of writing a memory should happen in the desktop. And right now the desktop experiences, I have to go and find the image or memory, send it to my desktop or download it from Google Photos and then re-upload it to Metablox. So we wanted that Google Photos integration. But if you do it on mobile, you have direct native access to all your photos right there. So I think having that mobile experience kills two birds with one stone. You just have accessibility for more people to be able to add those memories and then direct access to all your photos on iOS or Android or whatever phone you're using.
Question. Yep. The phone, does it just integrate with the photos on your phone only, right? But it doesn't necessarily connect to Google Photos on your phone. At least in the first, or it does? Okay.
You're asking for this first iteration.
Yeah.
I think for this first iteration, it'll just be like native photos. I don't know if we'll be able to pull it, but I think we have to see the specs.
One thing we have to investigate a bit more is usually like finding old photos on your phone is very difficult, right? In the phone, at least for the iPhone. Like if I'm on Slack and I want to upload a photo from like 4 months ago, it's so hard.
Oh no.
So that's something we'll have to continue to improve.
That's one of the nice things, June, about Google Photos, because you can search it easily on your phone to find the old one and then just download the specific images, and then they will be available in the native uploader. So it's a nice user experience already.
Yeah, well, absolutely. So we'll be working on that. I'm hoping in the next 4 weeks, we're going to make a lot of headway with it. I think our engineers are really good. Our designers are really good. And we're going to make a lot. So I've been talking a lot about that. I do want to open it up to Yukai now because we've been working a lot on Metablox Coin. Yukai's going to be updating the white paper, hopefully writing a blog post, updating everyone about it. But maybe he can talk to you a little bit about it right now and some changes, some updates on Metablox Coin.
Yeah. So I think first of all, there's some logistic stuff, Metablox Coin. We're still talking to legal counsel about making sure we can release this thing, and would it be a part of our Delaware C Corp, because June and I both from traditional Silicon Valley startup mentality. So we like to set things up in that traditional form, but we know a lot of companies when they have the traditional entity, but then when it comes to actually releasing a token, it actually is through an offshore company. And it's mostly not because they want to do something shady. It's just because the regulation for the US keeps changing. And then it's like, oh, before it's not a security, now it's a security. And then and they said, oh, because it's now a security, in the past we didn't comply with security laws and there's trouble. So every company, every council we talked to, they said we should do it. So we're still investigating. Obviously, we just want to make sure we deliver the right value to our user base. Now, and because of that, as we figure this out, we also want to make sure people who are leveling up their blogs, they're putting all this in, this time and energy, they would actually start accumulating. So most likely what we're going to first have is having a database kind of currency with Metablox Coin. So you can start accumulating, you can start using it as utility already. It's just not on the blockchain. And then, by the way, we can't make any promises right now. Our legal is tell us don't make any promise. So we'll just say that we plan to make it interesting and useful and valuable for everyone.
Exactly. We plan to work on Metablox Coin.
Yeah. We don't promise that we will do it. We'll actually launch it. We promise to work on it. So there's no security promises at all. Zero financial advice and security promises we're making.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Okay. So with that out of the way, let's talk about some of the planning for the utility for Metablox Coin. So I think one of the most important things we want to acknowledge is that a Metablox Coin, we're going to peg it to routing one memory onto the blockchain. So always you can notice right now you're just submitting memories onto Metablox, right? And those are meant to be on the blockchain. Right now we're working with Arweave integration. It's not there yet, but the idea is that when it's submitted to a blocks, it's there. And then either the person who submitted the memory or the block's owner, they can choose to spend one Metablox Coin to root it into the blockchain. And so now it's the blockchain forever, which is our value proposition. And at that point, the block's owner, they can still decide to slot that rooted memory into the limited memory slots so they can gather memory marks and level up. Or they think, oh, I don't want this memory. I want, Elon Musk, throw a speech, whatever, right? In which case, for the individual, we call them memory makers. So the memory makers, they still have their memories on the blockchain. They can pass down to the grandchildren. And for the memory curator, which is the block's owner, they can decide which root of memory they want. But again, rooting a memory is one Metablox coin. That's what we want to peg it to. And then there's other ways to spend it. There's ways to unlock more memory slots, right? If you feel like, oh, there's a choice. Like I have all these great memories, but I don't have a few memory slots. I don't feel like I want to just throw some away. Then you can spend Metablox coin to open a new memory slot. You can also use it to, actually one very interesting thing is we plan to have a thing called generation bypass. So if you read our white paper, you'll know that we have a design where a person with a blocks will level up to level 5 and it's capped at level 5. And if they want to level up more, they need to sell it to someone else, and it needs to be a verified sell, not just a chance to someone else. And that person can take it to level 6 to 10. And in one sense, from the meaning side, we just like it if there's like multiple generations of memories all stored in this blocks and multiple curators who see things differently. And also for the blocks from a value side, this means that whenever you sell a blocks, whatever they buy from you is automatically more valuable than what you sold to them, right? So when they buy it, it actually is more valuable. But then we have some neighbors who really care about the meaning part. They said, oh, I love my block so much. It's like my family's here. We've been here for generations. I just want to keep this. I just feel so sad if I have to give it away, sell it away to someone else just so that it can level up. And so we wanted a way to bypass that. So we have a way to spend Metablox coin to do a generation we'll just call it generation pass, I guess. Generation pass, where you just spend Metablox coin and it takes you to the next generation, level 6, 10, 11 to 15. Now it's going to cost a bit of Metablox coin. It's actually going to cost a lot of the Metablox you earn as you leveled up to get to level 5. But again, if you care about so much, you're not doing it for the commercial gains, not for the value, you do it for the meaning. So, I think for people who really want it, I think it's something useful there. And then we'll have other things like early access to new regions and a variety of other things that we have. Landmark auctions, we know that you need an auction with MetaRent, but we also think that we're potentially exploring having a bit of Metablox coin being like the access pass to get into the auction, just so that it's not like a lot of random activities. Yep.
And can you also quickly touch on how do you earn Metablox coin?
All right. So the main way to earn Metablox coin is by owning a blocks, right? And when you have a blocks, every time you level up blocks, and we can talk about level up mechanics somewhere else, but when you level generates at level 1, it's 10 to 50 Metablox coin, depending on tier. Tier 1, you get 10 Metablox coin per level up. And tier 5, you get 50 per level up. And when you get to the second generation, level 6 to 10, it actually is more. And every generation you get more when you level up. This is the main way to get Metablox coin. There's also another way that does not require people to get blocks, right? So people are like, and this is like we'll eventually have like a market where people who have a lot of Metablox coin and they don't want to use utility, they want to sell it off for someone else's utility. That's definitely something that makes a lot of sense. And then eventually we know that landmarks, it's something called Mecha blocks that won't go to details. Basically having verified perfect blocks. A landmark will every single week generate Metablox coin definitely and it burns your MetaRent. So it's like a mining machine that basically converts your MetaRent into a Metablox coin.
Yep. Thank you, Yukai. So that was great. I know Yukai's been working really hard on that, and Yukai will be updating the white paper very soon. I want to bring the next question to Kevin. So Kevin's currently working on the Arweave integration. So the question, Kevin, revolves around this. We've been talking about adding memories to the blockchain, and now it's preserved forever.
Yeah.
And we'll be using Arweave for that. But can you talk a little bit about what that actually means? When a person wants to route the memory to the blockchain, what is actually happening and how is it stored? We've talked about decentralized storage, like it's stored on many computers, but maybe you could talk a little bit about that and how it's actually preserved on the blockchain.
Okay. So when the user comes to our platform and then upload their memory to the Arweave, so we will help them so they pass the memory to our platform, and our platform will pass the photos or maybe in the future, the videos or other NFT tokens, and we will help them to save on the Arweave blockchain. So the file is not really saved on our platform. It's like saving the Arweave miners computer. So there are many people that mining the Arweave on the Arweave. So you can see like many people help you saving the pictures on the blockchain. And Arweave will give us, when we upload the pictures, Arweave will give us the link, permanent link. So we can use that permanent link and then routing into our maybe smart contract or maybe routing into our token UI that we defined before. So you can see your pictures are routing on the Metablox NFT. So that's the simplicity on the how we making these mechanisms works.
Thank you, Kevin. Yeah, that was very clear. So we're adding it to Arweave, and Arweave, there are a lot of miners, right? So spread all over the world that have this, right, this file stored on their computers. And so that's why it's decentralized storage. So if one of these computers fails, you still have a bunch of other ones who have that storage. So that's how it is rooted forever in essence. There's no one single point of failure.
Yeah.
Cool. Nice. Feeling good. All right. This next aspect, I want to start talking about New York NFT, which are going to be there next week. Super excited about it. Yukai is going to be speaking. Before we talk about Yukai's speech, Joe, I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about our Polygon partnership and talk a little bit about the scavenger hunt game and how that works and how people can be a part of it.
Yeah, that's a great question. We've partnered with Polygon to do a hub. Essentially, it's a scavenger hunt where they've got a series of events planned. I think NFT NYC is the first of those events, but it's going to carry through to multiple events. And this is the first one where there's a series of tasks that they need to do. I think there's 6 locations where if they go, our partnership aspect is upload a memory at a location, and then they'll get points for that and credit. And then you guys worked in some interesting game mechanics to where if they're sharing that and they get all 6, that there's going to be bonuses and other fun little surprises that go along with it. But essentially, you're going to go to a place, upload that experience with friends and pictures. And so get a little bit of Metablox involved with Polygon and some of their other partnerships. So it's going to be interesting to see how this goes.
Yeah, it's going to be really good. So yeah, we're really happy to be partnering with Polygon. If you're there in New York, hit us up on Discord or however else, and we'd love to meet you up. We're thinking about just doing a little get together at a cafe, maybe a bar, and just talking to some good people. So it's going to be really fun to get together.
Yeah.
Nice. Yukai, what is your talk about at the New York NFT?
We're going to talk about applying gamification design to the NFT world in general. So it will include, applying that Palace Frame, the 8 core drives, epic meaning, calling, development accomplishes. Some talks I've done in the past is mostly just focus on core drive 1, epic meaning and calling, which I think is the most important, adding meaning and purpose to blockchain NFT projects. This one, I think it'll be more of an overall, like a quick tips about how to apply all these 8 core drives to NFT projects.
Nice. Okay. I have forgotten what our decision was. So this will be now a little team meeting. Are we launching minting at New York NFT or are we doing extended reservations? So everyone's going to be able to reserve even during the talk, because as we know, reserving is a little easier. And then because now they've reserved, we have their email. Now we can nurture, make sure that these new people are a part of the community. And as they become a better part of the community, then we launch minting. I see nods. I see kind of nods. Where do we stand on this? I see a thumbs up.
We're reserving. I believe we're reserving. Right? We're reserving because it's just an easier action, because when people are running up and down the conference, it's all this chaos, it's all this stimuli, and doing the actions of minting is a fair bit of work, right? And figuring things out and whatnot. So it's just easy to say, hey, I reserve this spot in the New York map. This is what I want, and then probably 1 or 2 weeks after, we're going, when things settle down a bit, we're going to open up. And as usual, people who reserve will have, before it's 48, I think we haven't made a decision on this. Before it's 48 hours, but it could be 24 hours on exclusive rights to reserve this. And then afterwards, the people who are on the wait list for that block, which means we went to reserve, but you're the first person. It will open up to everyone on the wait list, and then it opens up to the public.
Yep. All right. Yeah, that sounds real good to me. So that means reservations next week, and then within the next couple of weeks, we will announce minting. You know what's interesting, Joe, and something we should track? So if you look at San Francisco and Miami, they both reached about 40% reservations. And about day of minting, it was about 10, 11% minted. So it was like a 25% conversion rate from reservation to minting. I wonder if we can track for this next one and see if we can beat it, right? So for New York, if we can get closer to 30, 40% reservation to minting, would be really awesome.
And, kudos to Dara, who's not on the call, but she's really worked on the customer journey to help people understand, like, it's one thing to hear Yukai talk and get excited in the moment, but really help them understand what the project's about and how important it is in the future, the excitement of the, the event and hearing the talk. So again, bringing that neighborhood care and love that Yukai talked about into that first onboarding sequence so folks understand what this is really about.
Yeah.
Awesome,
Honestly,
man.
if you've
Really
never
awesome.
checked the Discord, I already mentioned this, but go check it out. People have said it just feels so different. There's so much neighborly care and love in it. And I think it's so lacking in the world. Like a lot of places cold, people feel unappreciated everywhere they go, at home, at school, at work.
Yeah.
And so just want to be a place that is really supportive. People care about you because they know you're aligned with the same things about meaningful memories. And, I think you should definitely check it out, the Discord, if you haven't yet.
Joe, I have a question. I know that you were a part of a lot of
That's right.
Discords, and without trying to bring down anybody else, right? We want to make sure that we're, supportive, and everyone was building a project. We understand they're going through tough times, but how has been the general sentiment across all the Discords with this crypto winter?
That's a good question. I think as expected, right? A lot of them the chatter has died down. The excitement has died down quite a bit. And it's really, to me, it's revealing which projects have actual substance and which projects were all really predicated, not necessarily taking anything away from the founders, but really the community that rose up around them. If that excitement was purely sort of, speculatively based and their excitement was related to how quickly they were going to make money, those have tended to get real quiet, or the conversations have changed a bit. Whereas it seems like our server has just kind of continued along, like more or less like it was. Yeah, it's, and I think maybe you have the stats on what percentage of our population is kind of new to crypto, but I think it's a testament to that. It's not, it's not a speculative server. It's really about this meaning and the cause of preserving our most important memories.
Yeah, that's great. Let's talk about a little bit about this crypto winter, because I think like many of you, I was flying high when Bitcoin hit 60,000. I'm like, oh, it's going to 100. I feel it's going to 100, and then I'm going to sell at 100. That's what I'm going to do. And, even with Ethereum, I think it was above 4,000 for a while. So it was very exciting. And now we're falling down. I think I saw Kevin chat me recently. He said Ethereum's going to like sub 1,000 to 400 or something like that. And I'm like, oh man. So honestly, I had this conversation with Yukai earlier, is I believe in the long-term benefit. So these things go up and down. And for me, if I invested in, let's say when Bitcoin was like 30,000. So now my perspective on it, nothing has necessarily changed, right? It's just that people's sentiment right now is they're panicking and they're selling. So when I see Bitcoin right now at 20,000, I should in theory buy more, because if I was buying at 30,000, what has necessarily changed? It's actually now at a better price. So what I'm doing is I'm waiting. I told you, Kai, I'm like, well, I'm waiting for it to get to 11,000. And I'm just going to buy like a whole Bitcoin right then. But maybe you, Kai, you could talk a little bit about your strategy. I feel like you have a pretty sound strategy as well, and you're going to be buying as it dips down.
Yeah. So first of all, like I am unfazed at all. This is just breathe in, breathe out in the crypto world and the global economy too. Someone on Twitter was saying, hey, calm down, guys. It's just like, and it's just the ebb and flow of the market, right? And so it's, how can you say calm down when it's the second worst like day in history of the market or whatever, right? And I just said, hey, so what was the worst day in the market and did it recover after? And I don't know the answer to that question, but I know 100% recovered, right? Obviously. So no matter how bad it falls, unless you believe this is the actual doomsday, the world's going to end, like it'll never recover and we're going to go back to the Stone Ages, like it's going to recover, right? 2008, I hear people saying it's going to the Stone Age, like society's crumbling and, we recovered, like we got 3 times higher than like the market back then. So if you just see it as a cycle thing, then there's really nothing to be nervous. Like I lost, a substantial amount of money, but it's just, I gained also from it.
You only lose when you sell, Yukai.
Well, it went down by a lot. I sold when I made money. So, and there's a whole philosophy of buying when it's higher, but then I think when it drops, so Bitcoin, right? When it went up to 21K, it dropped to 3K, right? And again, I bought like at 15, at 12, at 9, at 3, and it all seemed like mistakes for a whole year. But then when it went up to like 60, of course, it all seemed like really good. So when it went from 21 to 3K, if you use the same pattern recognition, it might go from 60K to like 9K. Right. And that's still normal. That's not anything's dying. But psychologically, I think people logically understand these patterns and principle, but psychologically, I hear the phrasing like it's scary to catch a falling knife. Like if you think, oh, if it's what if
Yeah.
Bitcoin's gonna die, right? And in my point of view, it's like if it was gonna die, it was gonna die at like $100, $300, $500, because it already went through all the stuff we're seeing right now. Oh, China banned it like, I don't know, 10 times already. There's all these scams. There's like, oh, all these hacks that happened with the exchanges back then. You remember back then it was mostly used for like underground activity, like illegal trades, and that all that controversy happened. So it would have died back then if that was enough. But then over time, more infrastructure's there, banks are using it, all that stuff. So I don't think it's going to die. I think so. The only question is if you believe 5 years, 10 years from now, blockchain or Bitcoin is still the future. And if it is, now it's just a discount, right? It's on sale. And if you don't believe it, then you shouldn't be investing into it. So that's the mentality. And I want to go back to the project itself. I shared this quite a bit recently, but not on our YouTube videos. There's a phasal thing going back to the pattern. So when the market's good, a lot of these NFT projects that are established, they get really rich, they get very successful, and a lot of hype, right? And then that causes the second phase, which is a lot of enterprise jump in a way like money driven. They're like, oh, look, it's an opportunity. So the opportunities, they jump in and it really crowds the market. So you see random projects getting funded and you just can't tell between projects all over the place and you get spammed all the time. And also they're spending money very aggressively to acquire customers. They're like giving out free Tesla if you bring like 10 friends or many friends. Right. They're just giving it out. Right. And so they're just finding with.
We were considering that at one point.
Because we saw a friend do it and we were like quickly said, no, that's not sustainable. Like we don't want people to join because those are free. But I mean, we love Tesla, but that shouldn't be a reward. Yeah. So people use really aggressive growth tactics, but it's not sustainable. Right. And also like for instance, 20% interest on the money you put in, like all that stuff, not sustainable. Right. They're just hyper growth tactics.
Wow.
And then goes to the third step, which is the first phase, which is the market crashes inevitably. Like, it always has its cycle. And then all these unsustainable projects, they die. And only the projects that are more sustainable financially, also the teams are committed, right? Because it doesn't look like they're going to get rich anymore. So do they still believe in it? They still want it. Only those teams keep building, executing, and working on it. And then goes to the fourth phase, which is basically phase one, which is, again, when times are good again, the projects that are established become very successful and they generate a lot of revenue and value in the ecosystem. So honestly, right now, all we need to do is get from phase 3 to phase 4 over there. So it's not that complicated.
Yeah, I think thanks for talking about that, Yukai. I want to also double down on that. Something that's really important to understand is that we strongly believe not just in the mission, not just in the team, not just in the neighborhood, but that this is important. Like we feel that this is important for humanity. If you talk to anybody and you build a relationship with them, oftentimes you tell each other stories about where you come from. Like, what are those meaningful stories that made you who you are today? And that is important. That in itself right now, we believe should be preserved. And the way to preserve it is to decentralize it, right? Like that has value in itself. And that's why we're using the technology. I talk about this a lot. We didn't jump into crypto or NFTs because we thought it was cool, right? Like we were like, oh, like, let's hop on it. Let's hop onto this bandwagon. We had this idea and the solution happens to be Web3 technology. So we're like, let's build it. So nothing's changed for us. Nothing has ever been about the speculation or get rich and flip the tokens. As you can see, we haven't launched, or we are still planning to work towards Metablox coin, right? But it's not like we launched it really quickly, trying to hype it up and then, sell the tokens. So that was never a part of the plan.
We've had potential investors who really pushed us to say, hey, you should release a token in 2 or 3 months and then everyone can liquidate, get rich fast and see what happens.
Which is crazy, right? That was the kind of money, right? That was the kind of money that was being invested and we saw it firsthand. So what we have is a really good team. We started bootstrapping ourselves, Yukai and I. We did raise some funding from angel investors. We still control a vast majority of the company. We have no outside pressure to make money today, but we did make money through the minting. And that gave us at least 1.5 to 2 years of runway if we don't even mint anymore, right? That's like status quo today. If we don't mint anymore, we still have 2 years of runway. So we feel we're in a really good position because right now, hype has died down. We're, the weeds are getting weeded out. And we have a calm right now to really refine the product. Memories everywhere, improve the mobile experience, do the Arweave integration, Kevin and Joe right now are working on the Zapier integration and improving the Discord bot. So all of these things are happening right now when momentum is a little low. So just wait. You just wait until the NFT starts the cycle, the NFT industry starts the cycle again. Our product is going to be, right, it's going to be light years ahead. So we're really excited about that and grateful that you guys are a part of this journey. I think that's good. So we gave an update, talked about the winter, talked about New York, Arweave integrations. Joe's going to be announcing some emails coming up. So definitely keep a lookout for that. So with that, anybody have any last words for our neighbors?
If someone wants those emails, how do they make sure they get it?
Well, they should start. Yeah, they should start by getting a Metablox account so that they can become part of the community.
Yeah. Okay. So the email, and you don't have to actually buy a blocks to do that. You can just go to metablox.co, right top, sign up, email password, and then you can start getting our email updates if you don't want to always watch the
And
YouTube
you get
or
20
Discord.
meta rent and the ability to upload 2 free memories, which you should definitely do.
That is true. That's true.
That's a really good point. I wonder how many people assume that you have to mint a blocks to add a memory, but you don't have to mint a blocks to add a memory, right? Minting the blocks means you're the memory curator and you own the memories in that blocks, but you can just go ahead and add memories today. So that's what we want to highly encourage people to do. And we'll definitely be improving that experience.
Yep. June, I'm just going to say something. I was shocked when you showed the Medium posts from when your daughter was born, just to give people maybe a little bit better understanding of the depth of the thought and how long you've been contemplating this idea of preserving memories. That was what, 2016, 2017? Like a very long, detailed blog post about the entire pregnancy and birth. It was beautiful. I wish I had done that for my children, but you're going to be able to.
For all
we won't talk about that, but that would have been write a book.
Yeah, so it's wonderful. And you'll get a chance to do it with Metablox. Yeah, I love writing those stories, and it's a matter of, I mean, that took a long time to write that post, right? Getting the memories, thinking through it. But if we can streamline that, make it just easier to make those meaningful memories.
Yeah, and one thing is, if you ever doubt our sincerity and our mission, because obviously a lot of projects keep talking about, oh, we want to change the world, we have this big mission, but you end up realizing they just want money. Like you look at June's history, right? Even though he's a very successful entrepreneur, he's done a lot of projects that are just like meaning focused. He started a podcast on parenting, being a good father, right? That's not a money project. That's just, he cares about his children and being a good father. And he did a Kickstarter on, I don't know if it's Indiegogo Kickstarter, but he did a crowdfunding project on a children's book to inspire children to pursue their dreams, right? So it's something that our leader, June, has always carried. He has his heart for the next generation, for preserving meaningful memories. And I'm not going to say anything about myself, but you can see I have a long history of just being there for my audience and building things. And I share a lot of care and I've always followed my promises. So I think, so don't just believe in us because we say it. Look at the team's history. Look at what we've done. We've been public people for, more than a decade, probably 15 years. And just look at our background and know that we are if we don't succeed, it's not because we did not try hard or because it won't be these reasons at least, but we're there to support, we're persistent and we care and we want to make this work. And we just want you guys to be part of the journey with us to change the world together.
Yeah, man. I appreciate that. I think we have a fantastic, just some quick shout outs. I mean, Kevin, when we minted and we had some challenges with minting when we first launched, like how late did you stay up? Like, did you even sleep that?
Yeah. So for that 2 days, I just stay on call because engineer team are also busy on other parts to maintain the operation of the meeting. So I just stay the whole night because I know some people need to take a break. I myself is like say, hey, these 2 days is really important for everyone. So I would like to stay at the midnight and then support to the morning.
Yeah. Back then I did hear he only slept 2 hours. And by the crazy thing, the crazy thing is that a week before minting, he negotiated with his girlfriend that her girlfriend will move out and live with her friend for the week so he can just focus on the minting work and preparation for minting, right? And I don't know if I have that clout. I can't. For my wife or when we're just dating, I don't think I ever can negotiate with someone to move out because I need to work.
I don't like to say with her, say, I want to do this thing. And it's not like negotiation. She proposed she can move to stay with her college and then say, this really help helpful because I can focus on the working. So
All
she
right.
just
So
moves to
all right. So
with-
Kevin, you get no
Yeah.
credit. It's all her. She's the one that loves Metablox. So she took the hit.
We should have worn girl blocks.
Yeah.
We should.
I
No,
find-
we're
I
gonna do it,
find
man.
2
I love
blocks
it.
for her.
Yeah.
Great
Who needs wedding rings
Yeah,
these
so
days
great
when we
team.
can
You
give a
can get an
blocks?
NFT.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. I right now I just like sending as for secret fund right now I think it's public. I just send to go to that box and get her the ring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Wow. Oh yeah,
Yeah, I
that would
mean,
be a great
I mean,
memory.
it's-
That would be a
yes.
great memory for the blocks. Yeah.
Yeah, we have really committed members on the team. I mean, Joe, for example, before you even officially joined the team, you flew out and met us up in Miami. All right. And you were such a big part of that event or that conference. And that's why you eventually, decided to join us and we pulled you on. Same with Javi, who came out, and Dare is going to be coming out in New York. So just really excited. We've built a great team, great mission, great neighborhood. So like you guys said, if we fail, it's not because we didn't try. I feel like if there needs to be something there, like more like,
That sounds like
I don't think.
well, it won't
No,
be because companies like Rug Pull or they give up or they're not committed. They're like, oh, we thought it was fun or we thought it would work, and then we face headwinds and we stop. Like we're fully committed, we care, and we're competent. Hopefully, we think we're competent.
I'm losing
So-
my
so at
objectivity,
least-
but that was
Well,
a big
I-
part
well, I-
of my attraction to the project. Is you guys would say something, your execution plan was, you were ahead of what your roadmap was, and everything you said you would do, you did that and a little bit more. And just watching in the server how you took care of people, if they're like Kevin's commitment to the mint, it was just a genuine care for the project and for the people involved. And that was quite different than many servers and projects that I had been associated with or had just seen. So it was heartwarming. Add a bunch of memory marks to it. Not solemn though. It was all the memory marks, but solemn.
Yeah, and
That's awesome.
it feels like we've been buddied with Joe forever, but we literally just met like a few months ago, right? Through the Metablox community, like through the Discord, like keep saying, go try it out, go check it out if you haven't. It really you have to experience it to know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So yeah, Joe, looking forward to seeing you next week. Yukai, you too, always good to see you. I hadn't seen you in like 2 years and since, when I saw you in Miami. So that was really nice. And then I'm hoping, Kevin, maybe for the next one, we get you out here as well if you're willing to travel. I know sometimes it's tough to travel with it right now, but
Yes.
maybe we'll get you out on the next one. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Thanks, everyone. Great updates. Thank you, neighbors. And we'll see you in New
See
York.
ya.
In New York.